Good day, good day. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Jay, and this is Homeschool Your Kids podcast. Today we have with us Erica. Erica, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Erica. I am from the Lil Iguana's Children's Safety Foundation, and we are super excited to see everyone in Miami and just like a week from now, right?
Yes. So this will probably, well, not even probably, this will be posted after Miami. But
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
hopefully we'll
it's
see
okay.
you in Miami. We have or we have seen you at this point.
Yeah, right. So tell us about Lil Iguanas.
Sure. So the Lil Iguana's Children's Safety Foundation is a nonprofit, and we educate and empower kids to be safe, happy, and healthy through music-based programs and resources. So our programs and resources are for children ages 2 through 10, and we teach over 20 safety and well-being lessons like stranger danger, get permission, that inner voice that you have inside. That's your harm alarm, and you need to share that funny feeling with an adult right away.
Mm.
We also teach social emotional learning, being a good friend, anti-bullying, crossing the street, buckling up your seatbelt before you go somewhere in the car, wearing your helmet and other safety gear like sunscreen when you're out and about. So we have over 20 safety and well-being lessons, different categories of lessons, everything from personal safety, like I was talking about, to social emotional learning and everywhere in between.
Okay, so you say you work from 2 to 10. So does that mean that the rigor changes each year, or is it the
Yeah,
same 20?
definitely. So we
Okay.
always get that question, and it's so funny. So we have different programs, obviously, for a younger age, and then we have different programs for older age groups. Most of our programs feature our costume character, Lil Iguana, or some form of our animated character, Lil Iguana. So for the younger age group, Lil Iguana is very present, and he's like that cool friend, and his diverse friends and him help you teach like problem solving, and you go along on this journey of being safe and happy and healthy. And then once you get into 8, 10, 9, 10, they're too cool for school. So Lil Iguana is not as present in the materials as he is for the younger age group. So we do have different programs and different resources for young and old.
Nice. And does this in person classes or courses, or is this online? How is this available?
Absolutely. So we have in-person programming available, and we have programs that are throughout the New England states and along the East Coast. So we've done programs from Maine, New Jersey, all the way down to Florida, in-person programming for homeschool pods or at community events. We do host programs. We have programs that are in New Hampshire where our office is. So we have in-person programming in our home base. And then we also offer online resources because we know that that is the way of the world now. Everything is online. So you have to have some kind of reach that you can reach people where they are. So we have courses that parents can take in order to learn how to teach these lessons to their children. We have programs and courses that are specifically just for children that they're able to sit down and, without any parent or caregiver guidance, complete these programs on their own. And then we just have a bunch of resources like our digital curriculum we have available online, and that is again geared for ages 2 through 10. And then we also have educator resources and parent resources on there. So we do have virtual programming as well, where we have live programming and live instruction. So kind of all over the place. However you would like to receive it, that is how we're going to be delivering it to you.
Nice. So let's talk about some of the history of Lil Iguana. Like, how did we get here? What was
Yeah,
how do
absolutely.
we say, what, the community needs this?
Sure. So our founder, Jim, he actually founded the Lil Iguana Children's Safety Foundation 30 years ago. So this is
Oh
our
wow.
30th anniversary this year. So back in 1994, Jim had a marketing company that he was, just going about his life. And he had young children at the time. And there was an incident that took place nearby in the state that he lived in. And it was actually Jeffrey Curley, a young child. He was abducted and he
Mm.
was, taken over state lines. So it became an internet, like a national or international case. So even though his children were very young at the time, I mean, it was still talked about like adults were talking about it. It was on the news, stuff like that. And Jim had like storage bins in his office. And one of the incidents was that Jeffrey, the young boy, was put in a storage bin and transported. So Jim's son actually got in a bin. And I mean, Jim didn't know that any of this was like happening. He didn't know that his children were like hearing about this or like learning about it. And his son actually got in a bin and said, how did those men bring that boy in that bin? And he was so much bigger than me and I can barely fit in this bin. Like, how did this happen? Like, how are you going to be able to keep me safe, Dad? And that was kind of like a oh my God moment. And so Jim stopped doing his marketing company and he just devoted his life to Lil Iguana. So at that point, he had been working with the task force to prevent child abuse in the state of New Hampshire. And they had been using some music, some educational music, a little bit of in-classroom programming throughout the state of New Hampshire with the costume character and the character Lil Iguana. And their funding had changed. And this was all happening around the same time. They weren't going to be using the program the way that it was used in the past. So they had come to Jim and said, we're not going to be using this program anymore, but we appreciate it. We're going to be now, instead of teaching children directly, we're going to be talking to parents. So we don't need this character, obviously, anymore. And Jim said, I need to do this full time. I need to start saving children. I need to start doing this full time. So he enlisted the help of educators and parents, and they have, over the course of 30 years, developed curriculum programming for children. We have educational music. We had an Emmy Award-winning television series that aired in like the late 90s. So if you're familiar, it depends like how old your children are, but maybe you saw it when you were younger, So Lil Iguana's been everywhere over the last 30 years. We have educational music, like I said, the television series. We have read along storybooks, countless awards from parenting groups and different media coalitions and stuff like that. So it's been all over the place, and we're really excited for the next 30 years.
Nice. Yes. No, that's so y'all is taking hard conversations and kind of softening it up with the presence of the iguana.
Absolutely. So it's a completely non-threatening approach. So it's never going to be, don't talk to strangers, they're bad. A stranger is someone that's in a trench coat. I feel like that is the issue that we run into. It's like, who is a stranger? So how do you talk to your children about stranger if a parent doesn't even know, like, how are you supposed to define a stranger? So what Lil Iguana does is says, a stranger is just someone that you don't have permission to go with right then and there. It could be someone you know. It could be someone you don't know. It could be a good person. It could be a bad person. It doesn't matter. We don't need to worry about that. A stranger is just someone that you don't have permission to go with right then and there. And permission is very simple. It's eyeballs, ask, yes. So you need to look the adult in charge of you right in the eyeballs. And that's a funny word. So kids are going to remember that. You need to ask if you can go somewhere or do something with someone. And then you need to get a yes from the adult in charge. And once you get a yes, that means that you've gotten permission.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking back to the stranger danger conversation with my little ones. It was kind of interesting only because I talked to strangers and my lovely, smart, intelligent 4-year-old at the time pointed that out to me. Like, but you talk to strangers.
Exactly. And that's a conversation that you try to have with your child, because you can't say don't talk to strangers, because then how are you ever supposed to meet someone? How are you ever supposed to create those bonds in the community if you never talk to a stranger? So instead, your child just needs to ask you first. They need to get permission.
Yes. To even talk or
to talk, go, be with someone. And that has developed differently over the course of 30 years.
Of course.
Now that a lot of abductions are actually taking place from people that the child knows. So it's someone that they know and maybe that they trust, but they also just need to get permission from the adult in charge first. So that adult knows who they're going with and where they're going.
Yes. And like you even see the like conversations being had that okay, we did come from a time where you did not talk to strangers, like, ah, oh, stranger, no, get away. But now it's like everybody's a stranger, but you're talking to them online, getting in the car as far as Ubers, like, everything is kind of like you're not familiar with that person, but we're having interactions with people all the time. Um, so it's an interesting, it's as far as how it has evolved over
Yeah,
the
and I
course
mean,
of
you
time.
mentioned online safety. Obviously, 30 years ago when the program initially started, being safe
That
online
was
is
nothing.
not
Yeah.
something that we talked about. But now, obviously, we do have a program just for online safety and being safe online. So if you ever see something or read something that makes your harm alarm go off, that's that funny feeling that you get inside that you know
Mm.
something's not right. You need to tell an adult right away. And then we also have some tips on being safe online. You need to think, is this something that is kind and is nice and that I would want to say to my friend, stuff like that. So we have a lot of tips for parents and educators as well.
Nice. I like that you call that harm alarm. I like that. And the fact that y'all are encouraging them to learn how to listen to themselves, trusting their intuition, staying in tune with themselves.
Mhm.
That's important. That's
Absolutely.
really important. I don't there's a lot of adults that don't even listen to
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah. So if we teach it at a young age, that's like super important. That's why our program started at age 2. Because if we start instilling these values and instilling these words in children at a young age, they can become more comfortable and develop
Yeah.
that language that they need later in life to be able to say things like, help me, I don't know this person, or I saw something today that made my harm alarm go off that made me nervous or sad or mad or anxious. They have these emotions that they can feel and then they can also express.
Nice. How long is the program? How long does it last?
Depends on which one it is. We have an in-classroom
Okay.
program that's for preschool age children. That's about 30 to 45 minutes. And that is for like a smaller setting. It's an educator with our costume character and then animated videos that
Mhm.
children can to watch along with like the educator prompts them and asks questions. I say 30 to 45 minutes because we do leave a lot of time in between for clarifying questions. So we have a lot of interesting questions, as you can imagine, coming from young children, and then questions that need to be addressed and answered in the presentation. So it really depends.
Indeed.
We also
Indeed.
have, yeah, we also have a live stage show, and that is for community events, and that is for an older age group that has actor educators and our costume character that go and do like a musical stage show presentation, and that
Mhm.
teaches some of our lessons through music and interactive role playing and demonstrations. And then we also have, like I said, courses online. So those are self-paced courses. That depends on, how fast you want to move through those courses. Our digital curriculum is called Safety Up, and that has hundreds of ready to use, ready to print resources and activities and lesson plans that you could use. So you could teach over 20 lessons, like we talked about, through those resources. So that could be maybe you choose one lesson a month, maybe you choose one lesson a week.
Mm.
That's up to you. So that's self-guided as well.
Nice. I love that y'all are always tapping into topics that parents may not think of on their own. Like, oh, because your child's with you all the time, you don't really
Exactly.
necessarily think of certain, like, especially 2, 3, 4 years old. But I would tell you two instances where I've come across like, oh my gosh, I wish their parent would have taught them that. Like one time we were in the skate rink and this little boy got separated from his parents and he didn't know their name. And so
Yeah.
they're on the microphone and they're like, we got this little boy here. And they could just give a description. And his
Yeah.
mom and dad they don't know their actual name. And I think he was probably like, he looked around 3 or 4.
Mm.
Um, and then we were just at Mardi Gras, and this little boy got separated from his parents, and he didn't know their phone number. And
Yeah.
so it's just like, those instances, it's like, oh man, those are things that parents don't necessarily think about teaching because you don't think
Absolutely.
about losing your child either.
Yeah, well,
So,
you're hoping that that's never going to happen, right? So when it does happen, you have to have those tools and resources in place with your child so that they're ready. And some of our programs and some of our worksheets that we have are actually practicing pressing the numbers on a phone and then writing it out. And then, what is your mom's name? What is your dad's name? That's literally some of the resources and worksheets that we have.
That's important. Like this is, the world is definitely changing. Like, and I won't say that, abductions and things didn't happen back then. It's just we weren't so prevalent to it, I guess. That's what I feel like. A lot of this stuff that's happening that we're more knowledgeable about now, I feel like it's been happening. It's just that we didn't really know because of the level of media that we didn't have then that we
Yeah.
have now. So,
Absolutely. And even just kindness. I mean, I know that that's something that should be just so inherent in ourselves, but we, I feel like even back then, like that wasn't really taught, you know? So it's like now
mhm.
we're talking about emotions. How are you feeling? We have a feelings calendar that you can actually fill in each day, how you're feeling. And that's great for the child to be able to identify their emotion. They can choose, we
Yes.
have emotions that they can choose from with pictures of like how they look. But it's also great for the parents because then they're able to identify patterns and behavior. So if it's every
Mm,
Tuesday that they're feeling anxious, what do we do on Tuesdays? Why are they always anxious on a Tuesday? So it's able to have conversations and start conversations with your child about why are you anxious on Tuesday? What are some things that we do that make you upset or nervous? And then it's also like, oh, do we go, to swim practice, like swim
mhm,
lessons on Tuesday and you're uncomfortable because you have to go in the locker room by yourself, stuff like
mm.
that. So it can just be something innocent like, I don't feel good on Tuesdays, or it could be, something more serious that you have to have a conversation about.
I like that because we definitely talk about like the expression of emotion, especially for little people like 2 and 3 year olds. They have so many emotions. And so it's like, a lot of times they just shut down and cry because they don't know what it is
Yeah.
that they're feeling or how they feel. Like, how do you express that I'm anxious as,
Yeah.
at 3? Like, yeah, I love that. Y'all are
Yeah,
doing
so we're
awesome things.
hoping that through our programs and through our resources that children can actually verbalize those emotions and they have like the knowledge and the skills to do that.
Yes. Are you all partner with schools also?
Yeah, so we have a lot of in-person and traditional schools that we do work with. So we have our programs that go into schools, into elementary schools and preschools. We work a lot with Head Start and Title One facilities and preschools as well. So we do in-person program in traditional settings, but we also do a lot of non-traditional learning environment work as well. So we have like a lot of homeschool pods that might have our programs come and perform just for their homeschool pod, or virtually as well when we're not like in a close proximity to them. So we do have, a kind of a mix of just we're trying to get our lessons and our mission out there. So however it needs to get out, however children are learning, we're there for them.
Yes. And I know I heard you say that y'all are in New England also.
Yeah. So we're up north.
Okay, nice, nice, nice. So from like basically just the whole East Coast that y'all
Yeah,
are
the whole
focusing on
East
right now.
Coast. So we are hoping to expand our program nationwide. Since COVID, we've had I know it sounds so silly to keep saying it because now we're in 2024, but like COVID really set us back in getting our programs in person just because there were so many
Mm,
restrictions for a while. So we're still regaining our schedule, our calendar of events into 2024, just because we've either lost touch with the person that used to be in charge of whatever community organization it was, or they don't work there anymore, they've retired, stuff like that. So we're just trying to get back into our usual programming schedule. Usually we do about 300 programs per year in person.
gotcha. And the animated version is not on television anymore. The one,
No, so you can watch them on YouTube. It's
of
from
course.
it's from the late 90s, so I'm sure it's not up to children's standards these days. But we're but we're working on updating
Revamp. Yeah.
our television series. So we do have some animated music videos and some animated videos that kids can watch right now on our YouTube page. But we're hoping to do 11-minute episodes probably next year for distribution.
Nice. And I see you have books back there.
Yes, yeah. So we have a read along storybook. It's called A Gift from the Heart. So this book teaches just kindness, and the main theme of this book is you don't necessarily have to buy something for someone. You could make something. You know, we have a lot of pressure, I feel like, in our society of like gift giving and finding the perfect gift. So it doesn't have to have a monetary cost for a gift that you're going to give. It could be a gift from the heart. So
Yeah.
that is what this book is about. And it also has themes of like getting permission and hand washing inside. So for this book, it just is really great to promote literacy. We do have a QR code that you can scan inside with page turns and narration. So you're able to read along in the story. So and then it's also like Lil Iguana and all his fun friends. They go along on a journey
Nice.
to bake apple pies for his sisters for their birthday because that's their favorite thing, apple pie.
Oh, sweet. I love this, like the kindness aspect, focusing on that. Cause like you said,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily something that parents focus in on either. Yeah, y'all got some good topics
Yeah.
there. I love
Yeah, we actually are also just launched a Storytime podcast. So it's called
Okay.
the Iguana and Friends podcast, and they're about 11 to 15-minute episodes. So great for like driving in the car or right before bedtime. You can listen to our stories, and they feature Lil Iguana and his friends, and they just go along in their magical world, and they're encountering being safe online, crossing the street, looking left, right, left again, wearing sunscreen, washing their hands, getting permission, wearing their bike
No,
helmets, all those great things.
we're gonna have to check that one out. We've started incorporating podcasts into our travels. So the girls I put on stories. So we'll look for Lil Iguana.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can send you the link after this.
Okay, cool. Okay, nice. What else? What else? Because y'all have so much.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I have a whole list if we would like to go go through them. We also have a video series that we launch. We put out videos once a week from our SEL specialist, and she sets a positive intention for the week with kids. So we have our positive affirmation cards from Lil Iguana that you can get as one of our products. And she takes one of the cards from the deck each week, and she just sets a positive intention for the week and talks about confidence building and being the best self that you can be and stuff like that.
oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Lil Iguana. I'm excited.
Yeah, so
Excited
we
for
have
you.
a lot of great resources. And then if you wanted to just go right on our website to our lesson page, you're able to see all of our lessons that we teach. Like I said, over 20 safety and well-being lessons. And then you can click on the lesson and see all of the resources and courses and programs and educational music that we have related to that lesson. Because I think I might have just skipped over that important detail, but all of our resources and programs are music driven. So
Mm,
children are able to retain the messages and the lessons so much easier because music is such a great and powerful tool to teach. I mean, I think about like what I learned when I was in school and maybe like don't really remember much, but I can sing the songs that were on the radio. I have a Backstreet Boys song that comes on and I'm like doing the dance and singing along and I can remember everything. So music is just like such a powerful way to teach. So that's why we do a
it
lot of
is.
our programs and resources are music driven and music based. So you can stream all of our educational music on your favorite streaming platform like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, stuff like that.
Nice. Do you have any little ones?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but my
Gonna
little
ask.
ones are the ones that I just see every day out at the school. So
Okay. Gotcha. 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 Okay. So, little iguana out here in the community, shaking it up. What made them choose the iguana? Like that's
yeah, so I mean, think back to like 30 years ago and picking a mascot. There was already like Smokey the Bear, there was already a dinosaur, there was already, all of these other characters. And at the time that Lil Iguana started, like the team went to the pet store, and the number one pet that was being sold was an iguana.
oh
That
wow.
was how Lil Iguana started.
Okay. Just I was curious. I had that question like the beginning, but I was like, okay.
Yeah, because other character types were already taken. So
Nice. Well, where can we find Lil Iguana?
Lil Iguana, or LIL Iguana,
Mhm.
USA.org. If you want to look at our Safety Up digital membership, safetyup.org. You can stream all of our music, Lil Iguana's music, on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. All of our social media is Lil Iguana Safety. And you can
Nice.
find us on Instagram, TikTok. We have some tips of the day, stuff like that. Facebook, we have a Facebook group if you're interested in connecting with fellow educators and parents and caregivers. Raising Safe Kids is our Facebook group.
Okay, cool. And before I let you go, I would like you to share with parents three things that you feel they should really focus in on teaching their kids at a young age.
So the first lesson that Lil Iguana ever introduced was stranger danger, or how to identify a stranger and know who it is. So stranger danger for us encompasses a couple lessons: identifying who is a stranger. How do I get permission, or get permission before you leave or before you go and do something? If you're ever out and about and you have that weird feeling, your harm alarm, that's your inner voice that you need to share with someone. So that's part of stranger danger. We see a lot of videos now, um, like safe situations or strange behaviors. Instead of having a child have to think about, is this weird that's happening? Are they getting a funny feeling? Did they get permission? Is this person considered a
Mm.
stranger? Very easy. Do they have permission or not? It's instead of making a guesswork for them, is this weird? I don't know. Do they have permission? Yes or no? Are they getting a funny feeling inside? Yes or no? And then if you don't have permission and someone is trying to take you to go with them, you need to run, 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 yell, and tell. So
Mm.
those are stranger danger lessons, and we have programs for all of those. Teaching kindness is another really important thing. So I think one, stranger danger. Let's talk about all the lessons that accompany that. Two, kindness, and just having a great outlook on life and trying to treat others the way that you want to be treated. We have
Yeah.
a song called "It's Easy to Be Kind," and we have a program around be kindness, and it's easy to be kind. So that is really important. It doesn't take you anything, and it doesn't cost you anything to be kind to someone else. Put yourself in their shoes. I think kindness is really important. And then three, I think just being safe outside, like crossing the street. You can't always be with your children, and even when you are, sometimes you're in a parking lot and they take off. So you need to have situations or scenarios in place that you role play with your child, and you have to talk about the expectations and what rules they need to follow when they're in a parking lot, or things that they need to do when they're crossing the street with you and stuff like that.
Nice. Yes, those are all three good ones. I tell you, the stranger danger one with my oldest is still like a tough one, just because it contradicts some of the things that I say as far as like us all being connected and da, da, da. It's like, but how are they a stranger? We're family.
Yeah. Nope, totally fine. You can talk to them, you can be connected with them. They just need to check with you first. If they're going to be going with someone, they just need to get permission first. If they're going to talk to someone, they just need to get permission first. Permission is eyeballs, ask, get a yes. Super simple, super easy, fun for kids to remember because it's eyeballs. So, and it makes it easy. They don't have to guess oh, well, my neighbor, sometimes Mr. Jones, we see him when we come home, but today, he wants me to come inside with him. Is that okay?
Mm,
You just have to get
mm-mm.
permission first.
Look, I'm
Just
like,
get
I
permission
don't like
first.
it. I
Just
don't
get
like it.
permission first. I see my
Um,
neighbor walking her dog every single day, and we're outside playing. But today, my mom's not outside with me, and she asks me if I want to go walk the dog with her. Just get
mm,
permission first. Just ask. Let the person
yes.
know that you're going and who you're going with. That's all it takes.
And the dog things, those pet things. Like I've had
Yep.
those conversations because, honey, you could definitely get my child with a dog.
Again, you have to ask first. Is it okay if I pet your dog? Getting permission is a huge thing, and that is really good to build someone's confidence, because then they're able to go out into the world knowing that they have permission, and these are things that I know that I can do.
Yes, yes, yes. And I like the run, run, yell, tell. I like that too.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool. Well, I appreciate you all for everything that you are doing. Like this is very important, very, very important. Safety and the conversations that parents don't necessarily know how to start or even think about starting. So I hope that
Yeah.
listeners definitely tap into what you all have going on. There's
We
resources.
Yeah, we have conversation starters. How am I supposed to start this conversation? Where do I even begin with this lesson? So we make it very easy and very simple for parents to start.
Nice. And you all can invite Lil Iguanas to any kind of homeschool community co-op events or anything that you would like them to be present for and do presentations for. So they're here. They're here for you, for your safety, for your safety, and also building on social and emotional learning, all of that good stuff. So please definitely check out Lil Iguanas and like, hey, have those conversations because they're necessary. We they are necessary. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you, Erica, for your time. Families, resources was what all it's all about, knowing that we have the support that's necessary. Tap into them and homeschool your kids.